pretty impressive. I feel kind of sorry for Mark. I'm basically just going to be covering the hip tip this morning. I'm not going to be covering a whole lot of technique, but philosophy is more. I'd like to cover one thing well and leave you with something you can go home and teach your kids, or maybe pick up a fine point or two that'll help you in your coaching, or if you're wrestling, it'll help you get it in wrestling.
Okay, now on a hip tip, the hip tip, like most of your turns, say ankle cross, tilt, navy ride, all this stuff. Basically what you're doing is you're turning the guy's hips first and then turning his upper body. Same thing with a leg ride, same thing with almost all your turns. You control his hips, you're turning his hips with that tight grip around the waist, and then you're controlling the upper body and turning him over. Now, if all you could do was this, just wrap your arm deep around his waist, and you see this happen to a lot of kids, especially when they're first learning it, and you don't know which direction to drive and how to use your legs and arms, you see a lot of this kind of stuff here. Oh, let me turn it. Where they can turn the hips, they actually turn the hips, but they're just driving it sideways, and they end up back in here scrapping around, trying to come back up on top. Now, to teach a hip tip, what I concentrate on is first getting this deep grip. Okay, and the way I do it is if the man's on parterre position, on his knees and hands, I'll come across him here so I can get this deep grip. You have just so much more force. It's like a pipe wrench now on his waist. And now I'll drive across and crack him down here. Okay, now once you have his hips turned here, it's not really much of a problem to elevate this back leg and to trap this arm here, hold him on his back. The problems are this. Kid will come here, he'll drive to here, and then he'll try and elevate him. He's got him all loaded up. Now instead of driving forward, he'll drive him back here. And he'll end up right on top of the mic. Okay, so first, deep arm around the waist and drive the guy down. Really, all you need is this. You need him trapped on his hip here. Okay? And the way you can finish turning a guy is by driving into him with your legs here. Okay, now it's not that much to drop your knee under, pull him into your lap, and elevate him. And you don't find guys running into this kind of problem here, where they're trying to take him straight to his back from here. So first of all, you don't want to take him sideways on top of you. You want to be taking him forward. And second of all, you don't want to, like say you're wrestling a Granby type wrestler. This move will work great against a Granby type wrestler, but you have to control his hips to the mat. You can't take the guy here and just try to turn him like this, because he'll roll out on you. So what you do is, whether you're doing it from here with an ankle ride or a near arm chop, whatever, you secure his hip on the mat. I don't care how good he is at a Granby, he's not going to Granby now. Now you drive him forward. Now I'm really sure he's not going to Granby. And now all you do is, you just sit your knee under right here, give him a little pull into your lap. That loads him up on your hips. And now he's gone. It's no longer a matter of strength on strength or anything else. It's just balance. I just elevate that foot, and there he goes. Now, you might notice in this tournament you've seen an awful lot of hip tips. There's a reason for that. Nothing else is legal anymore. No, that's right. You know, you get an arm bar up, and you're right to here, and you go, come on, Joel. And the tough guy won't go over, and the ref will stop it. But this kind of technique, you know, it doesn't matter what the rules are, you just have to be able to adapt to them. And this type of technique here is pain-free. It's just a balanced type technique, and it's an easy way to score points here. See, now, to bring me to my next point. We talked about controlling his hips, we talked about driving him forward. Now, I'm going to talk about getting perpendicular. Because this is a very big problem on this hole, is people try and stay tight to his body here and turn it. Now you can do it, but it's a little bit more risky. And it's harder to do because your body's tight to his here. So now what you have to do is this. You get a guy here like this, you can actually, and this will help you turn him too, you push your body away from him. Okay, you don't stay tight to him here, just push your body away, and now I'm perpendicular. There's no way he can roll on top of me. He can't really roll away from me. It's a much better control. You won't have your kids running into this kind of thing where the guy's flopping around and rolling up on top of you and all that. So, control his hip, drive him down and forward, push your body away, and now what you do is with this knee, my key is I always say just knee the guy, bam, right in the rear. Okay, you want your leg, your knee on the outside of his knee here, and your foot on the inside of this foot. The reason for this is when I elevate him over, right here, you see my knee position, it's right between his legs. I can use this both ways. I can elevate him here, he turns into me. I can push his leg down. It's a very solid controlled position. Now, that's pretty much the basic points on this. Now, if all you have to understand is, and the reason I try and explain how a hold works, is so you can understand the principles of it and use it from more than just one position. Now, if you understand that all you have to do is freeze a man on his hip and have a deep waist, you can turn him from a bunch of different positions with this hip tip. You take a simple ankle right, knock him to his hip, and throw this arm deep. Now, where most guys screw up, mess up. They come here, they go like this, and they go here and take all the pressure off, and the guy turns his hip down. The hardest part on this technique is getting the guy to here with this deep arm. That's the hardest part of this technique. If you can get this far, you can turn most any good wrestler. And that's why another reason I chose to teach this is because it works on most any good wrestler. It's just a matter of balance. Say you're here and you drive this arm deep, trap him on his hip. Now this is the point I want to cover. This is how you trap a guy on his hip. By driving forward, again, just like you would have on the tip when you're all the way to the side of him. You get a guy here, you got this arm here, you drive forward. Just like you're trying to drive a football tackle to his back, and you run your feet around. Now this position starts to look familiar. And now you tip him up. Okay? Now if you can understand that change off from one side of his body to the other, then you can use a hip tip from a lot of different positions. You don't have to just be on that deep waist side. You could be here with a double leg, knock him down, and drive this arm deep. Now once you're here, you're driving your shoulder right into his gut, running your feet around. He's trying to turn to his belly. Doesn't matter. Elevate him up and take him to his back. You can do it from an ankle cross. I think I'm pretty well covering the point. Oh, up's fine. You can do it from the double leg here, where you pick the guy, you slam the pin. Right there. Just by controlling that hip, driving into him with your legs, which is where all your power is, jumping over and elevating. I think it took me less time than anticipated to cover that, so I'm going to go ahead and show some more things this works into. Hip tip. One thing, you'll find the better wrestlers, they can work combinations. And that's just exactly what I'm talking about now. If I get Joe in this much trouble, even if he fights out, he's going to still find himself in a little bit of bad position. If I'm here and he does fight out, my leg's in. I've got a leg in for Turk, or whatever your kids like for a leg series. In fact, this is an excellent way to get legs in, even if you don't like a hip tip. That is if you like legs. And what you're really doing is, remember, we're driving forward and loading him up in our lap here. All you do is when he turns his hip down, you just throw your foot across. See how my foot hooks on the other side of his leg? The reason for that is this. He can pinch his legs together now. Okay, doesn't matter. I still got a leg right. Whereas if I just throw my foot here, he can pinch his legs together and I got nothing. Okay, so that's a little fine point there. Where you come here, right there. Now he can do anything he wants. I've got a leg right. I'm going to come up and start using it. Now these work in, they're kind of cooperative moves. They help each other out. If I'm here Turking a guy and he starts throwing his hip down on me, other hand, help me Turk. Okay. Here, he's already frozen his hip on this side. He's already thrown his hip to this side. It's necessary for me to do is freeze it here. I just do that by dropping my weight. I'll drive a little bit forward and load him up. Okay? So, hip tip here, turns down, legs in, work your leg series, turns up, back to your hip tip here. Now, to move on to another hold, say you've already turned him. Okay, you can only score what? How many points do the ref stakes? Once with the same hold. So you score 3 with this. Now, if you got him in trouble here, there's no reason to let him all the way go. You just got to change holds. So what I'll do is I'll trap his cross wrist here and let him back to his stomach. He's fighting there anyway. Now I've got a cross wrist. I'll just come across and just drive him over, real simple. See, because I've already got this post. I'll just lift this inside leg and it's not really a matter of fighting, you know. Step through Turk or just a regular old pin hold in there. Let's see. I think that pretty well covered it. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll just that's what I really wanted to cover with you guys this morning. If you got any questions on this technique or any other, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
On your hip tip, the guy grabs your knee that you're sticking underneath. Take time to it.
That's the kind of stuff we're looking for. All right, now, if I'm here, boom, and I hip tip him, okay, and he grabs my leg. Remember how I said legs work with a hip tip? And see this arm? First of all, he did it wrong. If you're gonna grab a guy's leg, you better make sure your arm's tight to your side here. But I don't like that for the move I want to show right now. If a guy grabs my foot here, anything in here, I go right from my hip tip to here. Grab. Okay, again, I'm securing this hold right here with this knee here, right in his butt so he can't roll into me. And then just kind of relax this leg, he won't hurt it. If he is starting to crank on it, you can break it right here. Extend him and go to your regular force half series.
And if he does block,
now, if he does block you, to get to the next point, if I do hip tip him, boom, and he catches my foot and blocks, here, you're an old freestyle wrestler, right, chair towel? Okay, now one thing you want to do is keep your upper body high. You don't want to be down here, because if I'm here and he catches my arm, I'm in what you call deep trouble. So, what you want to do is you want to keep your upper body high, here. And now, try and get your foot down. See how I pivot on him? And at the same time, I'm taking this hand, I call this an AP for, I better not tell you. You just take him and you shove him forward, grabbing anything you can back here, okay? So, if you're here and he's trying to lift up on your leg, pivot right here, and if you can, get to your crotch lift position. Now you can either drive your legs back in or drive him off your leg. Here, sorry.
That's all right.
See what I mean?
Do it again. Do it again.
one more time.
Here, he's lifting your foot, pivot, here. Okay, now right now I've dang near got a
You got a
hip
waist
tip.
up, yeah.
I've got a hip tip
Right here.
now. But if he does keep my foot cranked up here, I'll save myself. Instead of attacking the arm, attack the leg. That's what I'm...
Scholastic.
Scholastic. See, Scholastic, go ahead and hold on to my leg.
Oh.
See, I can turn him here. It's the same principle. I've turned his hip. He's crazy enough to hang on to my foot. He can do it. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay. That brings up another good point. It's blocking the guy's arms. I see a lot of times the guy will do everything right, but the guy will get up way up high on his hands. Here. This is fine. All you have to do here is catch this and take him here. You're not going to try and really pull his arm out. You just drive him over that post. Yeah, I'm kicking him forward with my knee and legs. Now if I let him get his hips all the way on top, I'm in bad shape. Right now, I'm in bad shape. So, all you do is he's driving into you, just catch it here, and take him right forward. Now, there are ways to save yourself, and I probably should mention these. As a matter of fact, that's important. You brought up a whole new can of worms. And this is what I call safety valve techniques. That'll help you out if you do get in a little bit of trouble. Now, if you are If you do happen to stay parallel with your opponent and drive it hard here where he's getting his hips on top of you, you just do a simple roll through. You see this foot? I catch with this foot, I throw back here, and I throw hard with this arm. Then it's just a simple roll through. Or, I saw one kid doing this real well the other day. He was here, and the kid was turning hard into him. He scissored his leg this way, okay? I don't even need, if he's trying to turn this way on me, I don't even need to control his arms anymore. See that? I threw my leg from inside to outside. Now, if he turns into me, that's fine. Go ahead, come on. I just control this leg, drive my hips back up on top, and I'm back in there. Much more basic, and probably the one you prefer to use is if the guy's loading up on top of you, just push him away from you and kick him off you. Come back up on top. Beat him up.
Let's talk to them and do that part.
Counter on a hip tip's easy. It's easy. It's as easy as it is to do a hip tip, right? It's just like countering a guy. Now, if you do start to go, there's really only one thing you can do that I know, and that's either run your hips off him or peel his fingers. Okay? Because for Joe to hip tip me, he's got to control his hip. Okay? Now, right now, there's no way. I mean, I'm really gone realistically, unless I can get his elbow off my hip. If I can get here, he really doesn't have very much anymore, and I'll throw my hip down. Yeah. Like Joe said, you probably just try and leg in. But the best thing you do, just like in any other hold of wrestling, is never give the guy permission to work. If I let Joe get a deep waist on me, and I end up here on this hip, I'm odds-on favorite to lose at some points. So what I'll do is whatever side he wraps this arm on, I know he can't hip tip me this way, right? So I'll use this, I'll turn this hip up. And now he can't hip tip. He really can't.
Power.
Right. Whereas if he had driven me here, boom, I'm in trouble. Okay? Now I've got a little stand-up I like where I use his force to help. If he wraps that arm deep around me, I just come here. All I'm doing is dropping that hip. Same thing from the mat. Oh, okay. Here. See now? One thing you don't want to do is this, because he's just going to leg you. You're just right here. Throw that ankle, whatever. Now, from the mat, if I was here and he was driving it, I'd do the same thing. Turn this hip up and come up. It's very simple. Now, on the other hand, there's a lot of tricks to neutralize that. And that's where you get into getting the guy tricking him, like with a leg or with an ankle ride, or anytime a guy sits out on you. Just a regular old sit out. Yeah. In here, can even be a better sit out than that where he's here. He's setting himself up for a hip tip. If you can throw this on this seat. If you throw this on this seat, he's pretty well giving you a real good hold. Now, what you don't want to do is just sit here like this to the side, because it's going to let him use his back pressure to drive you out. What you want to do is hook this elbow and slide out to the side where he's got nothing. Yeah.
You have him around the waist, or do you have him?
Right here on the short ribs.
Just on the hip bone, but getting a lot of pressure with his elbow on this side right here. Everything's just tight. That pressure is really, this is just control. Pressure right here.
Yeah, my shoulder's driving it hard. Right in those short ribs.
Here's where the pressure is right here.
Yeah.
This is just control.
There's another good point now. There's a good counter to this. Anytime you're here, say on this ankle ride, and the guy tries that inside switch, you know, you just drop your shoulder here. And now he's in trouble. You see how low my hip is? If I did it here, he'd switch me. As bad as my elbows are, I had to figure out something to counter it, so I just dropped my hip. Okay, now, you do get caught here and you're too parallel, even trying to turn, it's the same thing you did from before you got to this point. Just push yourself away, and there he is. Does that cover the point well enough? Yeah.
Two on one or just each way?
Two on, you mean wrist type ride?
Wrist and tilt.
Yeah. Hey, you can tilt. I'll show you some stuff. That you can tilt from a lot of different points. It's just a matter of getting that body mechanics down. If you can tilt from that deep waist, you can tilt from here also. You can tilt from here. I've seen a lot of this where you're using this arm as the control. I still like to control right here on the hip. Okay. Now you turn them there. Same thing here with the 2-on-1. Now the 2-on-1, what you want to do on a 2-on-1 is it's like you're rowing a boat. You want to pull that arm right into his lap. Okay, because if he's here and you leave it out here, the guy's going to break your grip and stuff. So it's just like you're rowing a boat. I put my knee right behind his rear so I got some resistance and pull that sucker right to his belly. Now once I've got this, it's over. Old Joe had a kid last year that was just great with this thing. Yeah, Loomis. He'd do a hip tip. Guy'd stand up on him. Let's see. I don't know if I can do this. And he'd sit here like this, roll him. Is that how I did it? Close. It was crazy anyway. Joe would have to show you. As a matter of fact, that'd be a good hole to show him. Go ahead.
No, go on.
It's a good hole.
All right, man. Stand up.
Stands up, turns to the other side, legs in here. There's one. As he comes back the other way, just change sides with him. Just change sides with him, doing here. Arch back into me. Arch right, arch.
Oh.
Just change sides. You just change sides with it. Maybe one more time. Just stand up. You can get the wrist and stands up and get the wrist. This leg comes inside. Now, if Dave's trying to block me out, all I can do right now is just take him backwards. Elevate here, knee inside like Dave said, if he turns into me, pinch it off, elevate over here, block right here, this is key here, hold the elevate. If he tries to clear this, try to clear it with your belly. Oh, now what's that? Got the legs on you. Same thing you do with the legs on. You keep going, it's your stuff.
Now, this is a good deal. I get to learn a little bit this morning too. Let's see. I'm ready to just answer any other questions on a hip tip, basically.
Dave, on your international start, you go right into your hip tilt, here, right out.
Yeah. From here to here. Yeah, I'd say if you're going to hip tilt him this way, start here. So you can kind of get a running start, you know. Here. If you see what I'm saying. Because you want this arm deep. If you start here and you're trying to hip tilt him here, your arm can only go this deep. If you start here, your arm goes this deep. So.
You shoot it across, turn around.
I could peel it. I could peel it easier when it starts seems.
Yeah, it's hard to peel it too when your hand's all the way up here.
You gotta reach clear to here to peel. If you judge on this side, I can take it here and take it out.
I want to make the after Dave